And now the elimination game. Now, in the world that the left's created, a mere allegation can lead to cancellation. Now, by cancellation, I mean the loss of income, the loss of a platform, the loss of future opportunities. Now, of course, the strictest enforcement of this is always against those whom the left believes to be hostile to the liberal worldview. Case in point, actor, comedian, and cultural provocateur Russell Brand. The Times of London reported that between 2006 and 2013, several women have accused him of sexual assault and rape. Now, Brand insists the allegations are false.
As I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual.
Of course, none of us knows what the truth is here. I've never met Brand, and I only know he's rattled the cage of some leftists lately for comments he's made, I think, about free speech and big pharma. But we should all understand this. It is dangerous territory we're entering. When accusations published by media outlets and unaccompanied by a legal determination of guilt are all that it takes to destroy someone's livelihood, which is what they're trying to do here. After the allegations surfaced, Brand was immediately demonetized on YouTube while they continue to keep his videos up so they can, I guess, make money. And then he was dropped by his talent agency, dropped by his book publisher, and a lot of others. So, just canceled. Immediately. No further questions asked.
All right, so what's going on, y'all? So this video is not about Russell Brand. It's going to be about a very shocking court ruling in favor of men, where a Yale student was acquitted of assault and sues Yale for $110 million. Now, the reason why I started off here, though, is because I wanted to show you that we live in a very hostile environment in today's world, right? Where literally if someone is just accused, right, you are guilty before proven innocent. Which, you know, in times past, it used to be you are innocent until proven guilty. But you see, allegations, that's all people need nowadays in today's world in order for them to literally defame your character, you know, run your name in the mud. And this is one thing I really want to stress out, right? You see, because me, I'm big on the Bible, but this is one thing that's always mentioned, right? He says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Can you understand what that means? Not bearing false witness. Why is that so important? Because what most of you guys may not understand, when you drag a person's name in the mud, you are essentially, it's like you killed that individual. I know some of you may not understand it, but you don't realize the repercussions that actually take place when you actually defame someone's character. I mean, if you do that, how is the person going to get employed? How are they going to be able to provide for themselves? If you literally accuse somebody for grape, right? Grape, SA. How are they going to be able to provide for themselves, especially if they were actually innocent? It wouldn't matter, because at that point in time, everybody's perception of that individual is already marred, right? So this is why this Yale student is going to sue Yale for $110 million. But you definitely want to stay tuned for that, y'all.
In 2019, they tried to do the same to that Covington Catholic kid, Nick Sandmann. He was attacked and painted as racist because of a few seconds of a viral video.
The kid, Nick Sandmann, he did make a choice, and that was to make it into a standoff.
These kids are around the guy, and they're all jeering, and they're dancing. He's got this smug look on his face, and let's not lie. Everyone that sees that smug look wants to punch that kid.
Whoops. Sandmann, of course, won a big out-of-court settlement against media outlets on defamation grounds. And a year earlier, a police officer was accused of sexually assaulting a woman he arrested for DUI, then threatening to shoot her fiancé. Well, body cam footage revealed the accuser made the entire thing up. And at Yale University, the campus was rocked when a student was charged with rape there. Another female student said that this individual attacked her in her dorm room on Halloween night in 2015. The accused, Saifullah Khan, said that the encounter was consensual, and he was eventually acquitted in court. That didn't matter. Yale still kicked him out, expelled him. An allegation was all it took. He's in the middle of litigation now against the university, and there's more to come.
All right. So, as you heard, Khan, which was the Yale student, he literally won the case, but because of all the allegations that were made against him, now he's actually countersuing for, or rather, he's suing Yale for the defamation of character. Because again, his whole life is pretty much ruined. So let's actually follow up the events that led to this case in the first place, all right?
So this student who was acquitted of assault charges against the female student is now allowed to sue both Yale University and his accuser for defamation. Let's talk about it. So this is Mr. Khan. He's 30 years old, and he had a $110 million defamation lawsuit pending against Yale University, the Ivy League institution, since 2019. Now, Khan has been fighting to bring his accuser, a fellow student, into the lawsuit over a 2018 university hearing that eventually resulted in his expulsion from Yale University. Now, Connecticut's High Court granted Khan's request in June. The court ruled that his accuser didn't receive qualified immunity from her school testimony that Khan her following a Halloween party in 2015. Now, it's important to note, Khan was tried for those allegations, and he was found not guilty by a jury of his peers. So in 2015, a female student accused Khan of assaulting her in a dormitory at Yale College, and as a result, Yale University suspended Khan. The University Committee on Sexual Misconduct stayed their disciplinary proceedings against Khan, pending the outcome of his criminal case that the state had filed against him. Khan was actually acquitted on multiple accounts of the sexual assault, so he was found not guilty on all counts. Then Khan resumed as a full-time student at Yale. However, the student newspaper reported some additional allegations of assault involving Khan, and Khan underwent mental and health counseling, but he refused to meet with university administrators. Subsequently, Yale suspended Khan again, citing safety concerns for both Khan and the university community. So Khan was acquitted of the assault allegations against the woman in 2015, but the university said, well, hey, we want to look at this again, and then convened a hearing about those same 2015 allegations that Khan was found not guilty on.
Now, here's what's crazy, right? Notice this man Khan, right? Young student in his 20s, right? This man literally was found not guilty. But because you see these universities today, right? They are they get controlled by a bunch of women, right? And what's sad is that they don't care if he was found not guilty. Just the mere allegation alone, they just want to completely do away with his whole life. They want to completely do away with the character and the name that he has built over time. They just like, we're going to kick this guy out of the school, and they want to even press even more charges. And this is what's so crazy because, again, we live in a world where all the feminism, all the Me Too movements, you name it, if you get accused of SA, and I have to speak this way because, for some odd reason, YouTube would demonetize you if you say certain words. But if you get accused for SA, if you get accused for rape, right, anything along those lines, it doesn't matter about the truth at the point because, again, it's the defamation of character. That alone puts a stain on your name, and they literally are trying to crush you. So a lot of men, it's crazy because let's go back to even the Russell Brand. I mean, this man built his whole career, made millions, and now out of nowhere, we have these allegations from years prior. I never understood that. And again, I'm a firm believer, right, that if a woman actually did get, abused in any type of way, shape, fashion, or form, right, they absolutely deserve justice. Absolutely 100%. But you have to understand that if a woman lies about something like this, that is such a heinous act. I mean, have we forgotten about Emmett Till? How this little boy, a young black boy, was accused of whistling at a white woman, and they literally beat this boy to death. I mean, what world do we live in where, because of an allegation, do we not actually seek out actual truth, actual proof? And then this was so crazy, right? This woman, in the case of Emmett Till, she comes years later when she's on her deathbed. Oh, please forgive me. I didn't mean to. She wants to all of a sudden reveal the truth. No, but the truth is not gonna bring that little boy back to life. The truth is not gonna bring the boy. The damage has already been done. And that's what I'm trying to show you today with this case. The damage is already done. I mean, this guy lost a lot of his youth trying to fight this case. And with what money? I mean, spending money that he don't have on attorneys. Where is he going to get it if nobody's going to hire him because the allegation of, grape, SA, right? Check this out, y'all.
Saif Khan was a senior at Yale in 2015 when he was accused of assaulting a fellow student on Halloween night. The woman claimed that Khan raped her after she admittedly had too much to drink. Khan denied the accusations, was arrested, and faced a criminal...
It's crazy how these news reporters are able to say these words normally, and there's no issues when they say it. But if we say it as YouTubers, it gets demonetized. But hey, let's get back to the video.
...trial. It took a jury 3 hours, just 3 hours, to acquit him on all charges. The story, of course, didn't end there. There was a hearing on Yale's campus in which Khan and his lawyer were unable to cross-examine his accuser. They were not even allowed to be in the same room when she testified. Yale suspended Khan and eventually expelled him. But now the Connecticut Supreme Court has found that Yale's kangaroo court was so unfair, they issued a ruling in Khan's favor, in the accused favor. They wrote that Khan's lawyer's inability to cross-examine the accused reduced them, and we're quoting now, to the role of a potted plant, saying fundamental fairness requires meaningful cross-examination in proceedings like the one at issue. They found Khan could actually sue his accuser for defamation, something he is doing now. And Saif Khan joins us now. Saif, I appreciate you being here. You're suing Yale University for $110 million on the basis that the university violated your rights throughout the investigation process. Help us understand, is your issue with the university and with the accuser? And I'm wondering why you wouldn't want to just move on from all this.
Move on? Oh, move on? Move on from what? Move on from what? I mean, this man's life has been completely stagnant because of these allegations. Move on from, and again, I'm not trying to even accuse this news reporter. He's probably just asking a genuine question, right? But I want you to understand, you see, that is the sentiment of majority of people in this world. Whenever, things, the truth comes out years later, after they just lied and defamed their character, I'm sorry. Just like that woman that did Emmett Till wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. He actually didn't whistle to me. I just made a lie. Okay. So what? You want the parents of Emmett Till to just move on? Do you want the family members that lost that child to just move on? What is moving on going to do for that family when they just lost their child? Or in this case of Khan, he just lost his whole youth. His whole 20s is completely taken away from him. And what, you just want him to move on? Oh, it was a mistake. She, it was a false allegation. I forgive her. Forgive what? No, you see, I appreciate Khan for actually having the boldness to actually sue Yale, right? Because if they want to ruin his life, now I got to affect their pockets. You see, because, man, this is one thing you need to understand, right? Your name is extremely important. Listen to what I'm saying. That is the importance of networking. When you see, you can network and you don't even understand, just by having a good name, it can open so many doors, so many opportunities for you because of a good name. Without a good name, your life is over. And it doesn't matter. Again, that's why the Bible says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. People, you see, the wicked, they don't care how they doing your name. They don't care how dirty they run it in the ground. They don't care about any of that shit because they just trying to get one up over you. But you see, people that actually are righteous, people that actually understand the repercussions of actually slandering someone's name, they will understand, no. I better choose my words carefully when I'm representing somebody because you don't know what a couple of words can do to someone that can follow them for the rest of their life.
Well, good afternoon, first of all, Leland, and thank you for having me. And well, my father and my grandfather, as they grew up in Afghanistan, have taught me to fight for principles, fight for what is correct. And so Yale has taken away my 20s, and I'll give them my 30s, and I will stand for what is fair. And so I'm suing the university, Jane Doe, and 13 Yale administrators who tend to be at the root cause of this Kafkaesque nightmare. And while I had deep respect and admiration for the true American justice system, even though it has flaws, the democratic constitutional republic has created a justice system that has cross-examination and a plethora of protections that protect both real victims and who accuse and people who are innocent. And that filtering out of the process based on the truth and based on evidence is something that the justice system does. And the Connecticut Supreme Court, as you pointed out, showed that...
I want to get to this. So basically what we have here is we have two tracks of justice, right? You were arrested, you were put on trial. Your lawyers had the right, as every defendant does, to cross-examine those who are making accusations against you, and you were acquitted by a jury of your peers. That's the way the criminal justice system works. Then you're subjected to this, what I guess we could only call a kangaroo court, and the idea that the Connecticut Supreme Court sided with you over Yale says, I think, everything here about how unfair it was. This was Yale having its own sort of quasi-judicial system in which you can't cross-examine. Your lawyers weren't allowed to be in the same room as the hearing, on and on and on and on. We've done a lot of work on this about Title IX and how unfair these hearings are. My question is this: is the issue that Yale did what the federal government wanted them to do, or Yale sort of went beyond the unfairness that even the federal government allows and had its own sort of hearing system?
Okay, listen up, right, you guys? Again, notice what Khan said. They pretty much... All right, listen up. Notice what Khan said, right? They made him lose his 20s, right? So now he's going to fight in his 30s. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Because again, you see, going back to networking, you see, everybody that goes to Yale, it doesn't automatically mean they're smart. But you got to think about something very carefully, right? To even get accepted to Yale, either you were extremely bright or you have the money to attend Yale. But just the name of Yale alone could grant you so many opportunities. So this man, literally, if without the allegations, he was on the track to success, period, point blank. And this is what I'm saying, an allegation which was acquitted in only 3 hours, they said. And now Yale took justice into their own hands, and I guess they just really wanted this man, Khan, to suffer for what? They wanted him to suffer for what? I mean, it was already dropped. But no, I guess they really just... this is my assumption. There must have been some type of female, jurisdiction within Yale that just like, nah, we don't want this to happen because it's going to put a stain on our name, so we just want to kick this guy out. Even though, again, this man was completely innocent. All right?
I believe it is a confluence of many factors, including the Dear Colleague letter that Obama had issued in 2011 and the investigation that the Department of Education was forcing universities to go through, within which universities would lose their federal funding, of which Yale receives hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Granted, most of those are about research, but the school is a corporation at the end of the day. And there's been a capture of the administration within the university by extreme Jacobin leftists that are raining their terror upon innocent kids. And in their calculation, they assume that being from Afghanistan and being vulnerable, I mean, I had $94 in my bank account when they kicked me out, summarily suspended me, and they contacted...
Saif, I think about I think about why you're suing, and we've often sort of questioned the civil lawsuits in these sort of huge numbers, but $110 million is an awful lot of money. You were acquitted, found not guilty by a jury of your peers. Now you want
$110 million, in Yale. What is that? That's like $1 compared to what they actually have. I mean, look, 110. That's not gonna put no dent in Yale. If anything, he probably could have sued for more. I mean, Yale is a prestigious college. So again, if you ruin this man's life, and I'm glad he brought up two things, right? His ethnicity, because could there have been some, prejudice because of where he comes from? I mean, again, I don't know, but it could be the fact that maybe he's from a part of the world where, it's very patriarchal, it's very masculine. So, I mean, all of that in conjunction, now this man who's from a part of the world where it's very patriarchal, and now he's being accused for an essay. I mean, again, these are speculations. No one knows. But then he also mentioned too that it's just a bunch of leftists. You see, the left again, as much as they want to talk about love all the time, it's all about love, acceptance of who you are. They're very militant. And not only are they very militant, but they're very prejudiced when it comes to people with an alternative mindset. As much as they want to claim it's all about love and you got to accept everybody, why they don't accept people that have a more traditional conservative mindset? I've always thought about that. Maybe you guys could let me know in the comment section down below.
$10 million. How do you get, and I say this respectfully, though, I get that your reputation was ruined. I get that your 20s were taken from you, and it's why we're having you on, because it seems profoundly wrong. But how do you justify $110 million?
So that's largely a question for the jury to determine, in the sense that what should we do when Yale is not merely adjudicating a process, but they're putting their grubby fingers on the scale. They had destroyed exculpatory evidence, and they were trying to mess with the prosecutor, and they had notes passed around that said, he's from Afghanistan, he must have done it because violence is accepted there.
Wow.
And along
Why do you think? Why
You see, just like I said, was there prejudice because of where he comes from?
do you think they hate? Why would they hate you so much? Why would they have it out for you?
So it's again a confluence of factors. I tend to go with my principles. There was not much that Yale, when I was on campus, that people could do regarding me. I was not the easy to fit box of white straight male. And I largely spoke about issues that I thought was unfair, and including issues of politics, including issues related to gender, or including issues to all sorts of stuff. I don't shy away from it.
There you go. And that's the truth. I'm glad this came out, because that right there is all, honestly, I've seen it a million times. It's nothing new under the sun. It's really not. So this guy had traditional values, conservative values, just as I thought, because he's from a part of the world, Afghanistan, right? Because he had these values, he talked about gender roles, and he said with his own mouth that he didn't shy away from it. These are the people that get targeted. So in other words, who knows if that girl was just someone they sent after him to say, just come up with something because we got to shut this dude up. I mean, it happens all over the place. When you see people get canceled, 9 times out of 10, again, I don't care about your personal belief, whether you like the person personally, it doesn't matter. But when someone gets canceled, 9 times out of 10, it's because the powers that be, those up top, they don't like the message that they are promoting or preaching, and therefore they are attempting to shut them down. And the best way to do that is defamation of character. Oh, we didn't touch them. We didn't execute them. You see, but this is one thing that's interesting, right? In the Bible, it says if you break one law, you're breaking them all. So think about that, right? If somebody bears false witness against their neighbor, can you believe that because you broke one, you broke them all? So that means that person also murdered. You see, and this is what people don't realize, right? You don't realize that when you defame someone's character, you already have murdered them. And you're probably thinking, oh, I didn't lay hands on them. I didn't touch them. Oh, you don't need to touch them. I mean, literally, look at what happened with Jezebel and Ahab, if anybody remembers that account. All she had to say is that this man here, right, she sent out those two sons of Belial. Oh, that man, right? That man, I believe it was Nabat. I believe it was Nabat. That man, oh, he was blaspheming the name of the Most High. And because they defended his character, what happened? The people killed him. You see, that's all you need to do. All you need to do is come up with some heinous lie, an allegation, and then people that don't have the ability to actually rationalize or think for themselves, because they just quick to just jump to whatever, the popular opinion is, they will literally kill you. Again, they don't need to do it with their hands. And they don't gotta touch you physically. It's just defame a character, and this man's life will perish.
And so I am not simply suing the university, I am taking down the entire system. Ultimately, I would prefer that colleges should never be in the business of adjudicating crime. Should we let them adjudicate murder, arson? What about tax fraud?
It's a fascinating question, and the pendulum is swinging. It swung so hard one direction, right? And obviously you were a victim of that, and now it's starting to swing back. And this lawsuit, the idea of being able to sue for defamation, really applaud your lawyers too, because it's a really interesting way of going after the university. We're going to keep following the case. Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right. So I'm going to end it right here. I would really love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this situation. I mean, do you think that Yale should actually cough up the $110 million? Do you think that Khan is going overboard and, just overreacting, or whatever the case may be? Do you actually believe that a man such as Khan actually deserves justice? And if so, what does justice actually look like in this type of situation? I mean, is it to hurt the pocket of Yale? Or do you believe there should be some other form of justice that maybe is more, I don't know, lenient on behalf of Yale? I don't know what your thoughts are, but whatever it is, drop it in the comment section down below. But with that being said, Nick over and out. The message sent. Jesus is king, y'all.